Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Renovation and Outdoor Living show this Friday afternoon. End of a difficult week, I think, for a lot of people around the world, with the Beirut being ripped apart by that explosion. COVID-19 cases now nudging up to the 20 million mark, and Donald Trump making a bit of an idiot of himself. But anyway, all's well in this part of the world, at least. And first of all, I want to start off by talking about Tuesday, when, well, if you were watching on Tuesday, if you weren't, then have a look on YouTube and catch up. But if you were, you'll remember that first of all we talked tapware with Roger Marty, who runs Feltonware, and he was telling us what we needed to consider before choosing our tapware. In particular, though, when it comes to water pressure and shower heads. It's a New Zealand problem. It probably exists also Australia and the UK a bit. But he showed us each of their. So he was talking about how you have to have the right shower heads for the right sort of water pressure and the range which suits. He also introduced us to this amazing range of awesome smart tech controls. This are incredible controls where you can set your own preference for temperature and for which type of setting you want for the shower head. And you come into the bathroom, you press your button, and it automatically adjusts to, like having your own seat adjustment in the electric car. And also how you can run your bath remotely. So as you're on your way home from work, you can press a button and away it goes. Very cool stuff. That was Feltonware. And then we talked to another all-Kiwi company called Saint Michel, who you'll be familiar with, who do this whole range of bathroom products. And we were talking to Jodie Rudman, who we've met before on the show. And she was talking this time about vanities in particular, the range, the costs, the innovations to match our tastes and our needs, and also the space available to us. So that was Bathroom Tuesday. Today, we're going to head outside because we want to highlight one particular type of product. It's an incredible product for anyone with, or actually, I'll rethink that. It's probably more suited for those without green fingers, because this is basically a product that makes vegetable gardening easy. Anyone can get it right, I'm told, with this product. Have you ever heard of the VeggiePod? So this is a company which hit the world in about 2008, came out of Australia. And then about 4 years ago, Andrew and Lisa Lowe set up the New Zealand version. Well, they bought into the whole thing, but they set up here in New Zealand, in Tauranga. They set up VeggiePod New Zealand. And as I said, this is all about making vegetable gardening easy. And Lisa, I hope, is with us. Hello, Lisa. How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you, Rawdon?
Very well indeed, thank you. This is incredible. Just for anyone who's never heard of VeggiePod, what's your elevator pitch? What do you tell people what it is?
So they're essentially raised garden bed kits. They come with covers and a watering system through them, various sizes depending on the space that you have to grow and how many people you want to grow for. And then we also do these optional stands and trolleys, which you can see on screen, which really raise it up. So it's more like waist-height gardening and really no bending over. So as you mentioned in the intro, it's all about making it really easy for people, kind of a fail-proof method to growing some of your own food at home.
Really? And how did you get into this? Because as I mentioned, this originated in Australia. And did you just sort of see it and go, wow, that's got to work here in New Zealand?
Yeah, so it was designed over there by a gentleman called Matt Harris, who he's a brother of an old business colleague of mine, which is how I sort of knew about it existing in Australia. And I flew over there to have a look at it and thought, wow, I think this could go in New Zealand and I think the Kiwis will like it. We really had no idea, but ordered our first container and it came in, and that was 4 years ago, and it's just been incredible ever since. Kiwis just seem to love it. They love that whole idea of being a little bit sustainable and growing some of their own and being organic. And they've just been flying out the door.
Yeah. So now let's talk about why it is that it has worked so well. Because anyone seeing the pictures can see the advantages to an extent. And it saves having to put up a greenhouse, and it saves having to own a massive garden. So obviously, space is a big attraction. What are the other what are the appeals which people are tapping into on this?
Yeah, there's a few key reasons why people are buying them. The first one is they're a self-watering system. So I think one of the challenges a lot of people have in growing their own veggies at home is the watering requirements that it takes to run a vegetable garden. Often people forget to water. So they might go away on holiday in summer and forget about watering. or they might even overwater. They might have overcompensate for not having watered it for a while and not really understanding maybe how much water it does take. So the Vegepod system has these reservoirs of water underneath the soil. We capture the rain as it comes in, comes through the mesh, soaks through the soil and fills the reservoir up. And then it's a wicking system to bring that water back for the roots of the plants. So it's really efficient. Overall, 80% less water than a normal veggie garden would take to run. So people on tank supply or people off the grid are loving them because they're not needing to use their own tank water so much. So yeah, one's the watering and overcoming that challenge for people so that it really does just take care of it. And those reservoirs last around 3 weeks without any rain. You can just neglect your garden and it'll be fine.
Sorry, before you move on, so this self-watering system, so it's purely from rainwater, or can you also plug your garden hose into it and give it a top up and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a little mist spray irrigation system through the canopy of the Vegepod that you can plug your hose into. That will add water from the cover down. So yeah, if you haven't had rain or you're in the middle of summer and you're in a bit of a drought, you absolutely can plug your hose in, add your own water, or you can just water it like a normal garden too. All that water soaks through and fills the reservoir. There is an overflow on the reservoir too. That's what everyone asks. What if there's too much rain? Yeah. So that'll just drain out, self-drain once they're full. So yeah, clever little system. The other key thing people love is the covers over the top of the plants, these white mesh protection. There's a few purposes of it. One is to keep out the neighbour's cat. It's always the neighbour's cat that seems to get into veggie patches, or, your dog or possums or rabbits. But it also protects from, your bugs and white butterfly and those sorts of things. The other thing it does is protect from the weather. So wind, frost, it protects from and any sort of harsh elements. It creates a microclimate as well, a bit like, as you mentioned, like a greenhouse. So that is accelerating the growth and enabling you to grow all year round in them.
So I was going to say, so that means all year round growth, even through frosts.
Absolutely, yeah. So that white mesh cover you saw on screen, that protects to -2 degrees. So most of like the North Island are fine with that cover. If you're in the south, we do a plastic PVC that once you get below those temperatures, you can slip on for some extra warmth through the winter months. But yeah, very much an all-round year gardening growing product.
Have you found that people have wanted to buy them and have them like permanently installed, like where they might have traditionally had a raised bed, but they're like me and they can't be bothered watering it, and then everything dies and the neighbor's cat gets in. So that people want them like permanently put into like a raised bed or like an installation, or on the whole, are you finding that the trolley system is more popular?
It's probably more popular just to be on our stand or trolley, but we definitely have people that have built them into wooden boxes or put them over their current raised beds. As you said, they're sick and tired of digging them over and weeding them, so they'll just level it off. And our Vegepod gardens have flat bottoms, so if you take the stand or trolley away, it's just a flat container, and that can just go down on any level surface. And some people prefer that kind of wooden rustic look rather than our stands and trolleys, which is absolutely fine. Again, they build wooden legs or bases out of sleepers, pallets, wood, or a box that it sort of drops into. So yeah, that can be set up that way as well.
And so do you work with, you'll work with people, let's say at places like Zones, to as far as dimensions go, so that they'll say they might recommend saying, well, we used to do these raised beds, but I'll tell you what, we've got this great new idea which you might want to incorporate. So you guys don't actually have to come on and do that stuff. You work with your landscapers.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a lot of landscapers throughout the country that are incorporating the Vegepods into their designs because they can't build them out of wood, and they're a lot more durable out of this polypropylene, which is what water tanks are made from. It's all food grade safe, but they still will incorporate them in the design of their outdoor area and the landscaping, and build them in to suit to the customer, and they get the benefits of the watering and the cover and protection, but that it's built into their design.
Bit worried about this child labour look here. I presume you know these people. So that's the family, is it?
Yeah, there's one more, a little bit. There's a younger one than that too. But yep, three kids, and it's amazing when they grow some of their own food, how many more veggies they actually eat. So we love getting them involved. They grow from seed to the point that they grow so much they've got to give it away or sell it at the gate.
So that's interesting, because I mean, obviously this sort of product could be for everyone. Have you found there have been particular types of people or circumstances which it appeals more to?
So yeah, we do have all ages, all genders buying them, but yeah, probably predominantly it's the 50 plus, probably our biggest market, and that may be because they've got a little bit more time on their hands to get back out into gardening. But we are seeing a younger market come through, and obviously a lot of younger people becoming vegan or organic and wanting to get into growing their own. And obviously through coronavirus as well, it sort of made it even more popular to get into gardening and to be a bit more self-sufficient. So yeah, everyone is, I guess, a market for us, but probably more to date being at the sort of middle to older end. But we do have them in schools and preschools across the country. We're probably in about 30 schools already, teaching kids how to grow. We actually provide programs along with the veggie pods for the teachers to use with lesson plans and activities. So yeah, we're for everyone.
That's a really clever idea, Lisa, to actually sort of make it, to provide the educational resource, because as we know, teachers are so pushed, and they would love nothing more. And as you say, a lot of, particularly the primary schools, do have their little veggie patches or their beehives or their chicken runs. But to actually be able to provide the notes and say, plant X with Y at this time over here, that they can turn that into a proper. Who came up with that idea to get it into to actually make more of an educational product?
Yeah, so that came out of our head office in Australia, and they work with the university over there to actually write them. So yeah, so we've got them for schools. We've also got them for aged care facilities. These programs, we've got them for people in social or shared housing settings, people with disabilities, and now we're even writing one for the corporates. So as a corporate program to build these and have them within your office space, and give back or give away or the veggies that you grow, or use them at your lunch. So yeah, it came out of Australia, and it's just a value add that we don't charge for these programs. We just want to integrate the garden in with your setting and in with your community. So we provide them as well.
So the neighbour's cat comes in, right? And the first thing they do is they rip through my meshing. So two things. One, how robust is it? And second, is it the sort of thing where you can buy the spare parts?
Yeah, so the mesh is commercial grade. It's very durable, designed in Australia to keep possums out, because over there they're protected, so they have a real problem. So yeah, we haven't had a possum or a cat or any of those through it yet. But if it did, yes, we have replacements, and then
that's impressive in 4 years that you haven't had any sort of wild animal or domestic animal ripped through the covers. So that's good. Now I was looking on your website, and I noticed, and the other reason is because we're going to hopefully give away a few of these as well. But tell me about this, the veggie bag product.
Yep. So this is a new product that we're launching this spring. It actually just recently won the 2020 Chelsea Flower Show Garden Product of the Year.
Wow.
So yeah, I know, which we weren't probably quite expecting, but they judged it kind of in lockdown or just before lockdown over in the UK, and we won it. And so it's been amazing and going gangbusters over there because of that accolade. But yeah, so it's built off the same sort of principles of the veggie pod in terms of it's got the zip protection mesh all the way around to keep out your bugs and animals, and it will have a self-watering reservoir underneath as well to feed the water up to the roots. But it's just kind of a bit more of an entry level, or for people that just want a bit more space to grow in. It pops open, you fill it with soil, you can grow all sorts of things from tomatoes to leafy greens in them. So yeah, new this spring it will be available through us.
So as you say, it's been going amazingly well, given the fact that the UK, the Chelsea Flower Show, of course, is timed in their spring. And so did you guys send it over there thinking, oh well, we may as well just give it a stab, and then suddenly if it wins something like that, you are going to have thousands lining up for it? Was it a little bit like, God, what have we done?
Yeah. Yeah, so we do have a UK VeggiePod team over there. We launched over there about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So when we started developing the bag, they then entered it into the awards. And I think that one of the key reasons, the feedback we got is why we won it is it's just made it's so accessible and so easy for even more people to get into gardening and to growing some of their own. You literally pop the bag open and put some soil and plants in. You can't go wrong. And it's just at a time like this when, it is about trying to be a bit more self-sufficient and that it just, I think, ticked all the boxes up against, really expensive lawnmowers and other things that they probably judged alongside it. But it just was a great price point and was just a kind of simple but effective way.
And let's be honest, you don't need a garden to garden. I mean, that can live on,
No.
You think about your London, let's think of a London estate, and they've all got maybe a little balcony out the front. They can actually have a veggie garden for the first time ever. It's brilliant. So you just mentioned the price point. Let's talk about the whole range. So let's start with the veggie bag, because that's your sort of, that's your entry level, and then go into the pods. What are the costs?
Yeah, so the one we're giving away today is $39 retail for that. But we are making some improvements to it for this spring as well. So the price point might change a little bit before launch, but that's your entry level. And then when we get to the VeggiePod range, our smallest one, which is on the left of the screen there, it's 1 metre by 0.5 metre. So that starts at $209 for the garden, which comes with the cover and the watering system. And the big one on the right, our largest one, 2 metres by 1 metre, that garden, that's $489 for the garden. And then you can add a stand or trolley on if you want, or as you can see in that picture, they can just sit straight on the deck, or you can build your own platform or base for them.
So 2 metres by 1 metre was $489. What was the metre by 1.5 metres?
That's $320. Oh, sorry, metre by half is $209.
Metre by half, 209. It's not as if I'm about to go into the garden and measure my my raised bed, which just sits there with weeds in all year round. It's not that I'm going to do that or anything, but I'll tell you what my measurements are and see if you'll create a new one just to fit perfectly in there. But the point, so the veggie bag, is that like a use once and throw away type sort of thing? It's $40.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely last longer than that. Where sort of a year or two. The veggie pods, they're built to last a decade plus. The materials that have been used in them, but the veggie bags are still a really good quality, food grade safe, UV stabilized materials. So built to definitely not be thrown away after a season.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. I think it's just, it doesn't surprise me that when you were looking for a business that you raised your eyes and thought, wow, this has got potential. And probably the first thing you did was go, surely someone's doing something like this in New Zealand. But they weren't.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. There isn't really anything quite like us. I mean, people are obviously growing in the ground. They're growing in macrocarpa wood. I think there's green and glass houses out there, but nothing that's quite where we sit, which is a mobile garden. People are moving house with them, or they're wheeling them around their little patio or deck. They can fit on an apartment balcony, our little ones. And then our big ones are for families and rural and farmers and whoever else. So we feel very lucky that we're sort of in a bit of a niche area.
So what's your favorite veg to grow from the experience of actually growing it and I guess eating it? What's your number one? Tomatoes?
And no, I'm not a tomato person at all, and neither is my family, probably because I'm not. So for us, the strawberries are key. We grow a lot of strawberries in our veggie pods to the point the kids can't keep up. We've got to freeze them. We have so many at times. And then the leafy greens, we're big on our spinach and lettuce, and they grow prolific in these things all year round. So I'd say those two would be our key.
There's another advantage to something like strawberries. It can't overrun. It's you've got a contained area, so you're sort of runner type. What am I thinking of? Ones which are roots, which go crazy. Anyway, hey Lisa, I really really appreciate you giving us some time and explaining to us all about the veggie pod. And we will now we're going to give away 5 of your veggie bags today, which is awesome. and they will be available when they are available in the spring to our winners. Is that right, Lisa, or is that coming earlier?
Yeah, no, these ones here that we're giving away are available now. So
okay, brilliant. So there's the competition. If you want to win one of the veggie bags, valued at about $40, they look like they should be worth a great deal more than that. Then you just have to tell us when and where was VeggiePod NZ established. The key is the NZ bit, not the whole thing, but VeggiePod NZ. So what Lisa established here in New Zealand, somewhere eastish, about maybe 4 years ago. So you've got to tell us when and where, and you've got to like our page. Hey, Lisa, awesome to see you. Thank you for that. I'll be sending my measurements through and see if we can get me going. Because I just honestly think that it doesn't surprise me that this is going crazy. And particularly now, when people have been at home. We've talked about this so often on the show that the renovation and the outdoor living space has gone crazy in the last 3 months as people have looked around and they're nesting more. This would just be COVID is like a gift to a company doing this sort of thing, albeit for terrible reasons, isn't it? It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, we were blown away. I mean, obviously, yeah, some companies really suffered through this time, but the whole gardening space and as you saw probably in the news, seedlings and that were just selling out in garden centres, and people were kind of panic buying, I think, pre-lockdown to be a bit more secure their food supply, I guess. And then I think they were at home bored, or not bored, but, out in the garden more, and then got into it as a hobby. And yeah, so we were very lucky through all this.
We had the perfect storm of good weather as well, didn't we? Thank you, Lisa. Great to see you. That's Lisa Lowe there from VeggiePod NZ. And you've got a challenge now. If you want to win one of those veggie bags, then get onto Facebook, like the page, and tell us when and where VeggiePod NZ was established. And we've got another competition I want to quickly talk about, and that's the Cry Cup Maker, which we will be giving away next Friday. Okay, this is the smart computer-controlled cutting machine that basically allows you to do amazing-looking DIY projects. So you can cut and score and add decorative effects to basically anything: tiles, furniture, stationery, whatever. You put it into the laptop, you design it on your laptop or your smartphone, and you send it through to this machine. It's $700 worth. And in order to win that, you have to like the page and tell us what project you would use the Cry Cut Maker for. If you want to know more about that, then just Google up Cry Cut machine. Or you can go down to Spotlight or Warehouse Stationery or Imagery. I think all three of them are selling them. So $700 there. We'll announce that next Friday. Now, before we go, the Friday Top 10. And this week, the top 10 weirdest jobs around the world. These are genuine jobs. Or they might not be. But I think they are genuine jobs. No, they are genuine jobs. At number 10, you can be a professional sleeper. Now, this isn't that you can hire someone to sleep on your behalf. That's not how it works. The professional sleeper is a job that hotels offer. People come in, they sleep in the rooms, they test the comfort level of the beds. All you need for this job is a fluent local language and, of course, the knack to sleep for long. At number 9, human alarm clocks. I kid you not. This is in case your alarm clock doesn't work or doesn't wake you up. You can actually hire someone to wake you up. Human alarm clocks. At number 8, the wrinkle chasers. The wrinkle chaser, their job is to remove the wrinkles from your shoes. They iron out the wrinkles on your shoes using a hand iron and a hot air dryer, so they look nice and shiny. Now, I don't think we're necessarily talking about these types of shoes, but your leather shoes or whatever, you wear them a few times and you get those wrinkles across the top. That's what the wrinkle chaser does, gets rid of those. At number 7, the human mannequin. Well, that's pretty obvious what it is. Not an easy job. It involves, funnily enough, standing still for long periods of time. But it's a very specialized job because not many people can stand still for long periods of time. And as a result, you get paid about $100 US an hour at some places to do this. So if you stand still for a long time and you want one of probably the dullest, hardest jobs in the world, that's yours, human mannequin. Number 6, the paint dry watcher. I kid you not, this is a job where you have to sit and watch paint dry. That's it. You do, though, have to also have a stopwatch, because the idea of this is that you're watching different paints dry and you have to tell the companies which ones are drying first and how long it takes for each sample to dry. So there is a reason. You're actually part of market research, or not market research, but product research for paint companies. That's the paint dry watcher. And number 5, well, the professional cuddler. Now, this is a really popular thing, apparently, in Japan. It's completely platonic. So take those thoughts away. And the reason why is because there's a huge population there, mainly in their 20s, who are a bit apathetic about love and marriage, and they focus on their careers, and they don't have time for romantic relationships. So in order to get companionship, they hire professional cuddlers to just come and hold them for a little while. Sounds slightly bizarre. And number 4, professional bed warmers. They are paid to wear special all-in-one sleeper suits like this, and they warm up the beds of Holiday Inn guests before they get under the covers. This is it's just bizarre. The reason why is to enhance the cozy effect of the room. I don't know if you were a hotel guest, you walked in and you saw somebody wearing one of those suits in your bed, whether you might be checking out fairly quickly. At number 3, the third weirdest job in the world, the hangover helpers, party cleaners. Great idea. Great idea. So it's probably pretty stressful. You have to clean up, well, anything party going wise. It's probably not just always empty bottles. It's probably also all sorts of things which might be lying around after a party. So anyway, you call them in. You've had a party at your mum and dad's place. You call them in. These people specialize. They clean the whole place after a night of debauchery. And the number 2 is the, well, professional queuer. Pretty obvious what that is, and apparently it is a really popular thing. I would quite happily use one. I just hate queues. And number 1, the most weirdest job in the world is the professional mourner. These are people who have the job of obviously going to a deceased house and mourning for the death. It is a job. It pays really decently. Why you would want professional mourners? Maybe it's to pay tribute. Maybe it's because nobody else wants to come to mourn the death of that person you particularly love. But yes, it is a job. I imagine that there's not a lot of laughs in it either. So those are your top 10 weirdest jobs in the world. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us this Friday. We'll see you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.